The engine of the lead Land Cruiser was still running. Its low, steady hum was the only sound breaking the desert stillness. Inside the vehicle, a half-empty water bottle sat in a cup holder, condensation beating on its side. On the passenger seat, a map was unfolded. A route marked in red ink ended abruptly a few kilometers short of the refugee camp. The convoy's other two vehicles were parked neatly behind it. Their doors were unlocked. Keys were in the ignition. Crates of medical supplies in the back remained untouched. Bandages, antibiotics, IV bags. The plastic wrapping glinted under the harsh afternoon sun. Nothing appeared disturbed. Nothing was stolen. It was as if the occupants had simply stepped out and evaporated into the thin, dry air. This was the tableau that greeted the recovery team on that desolate stretch of road in early 2024. The three aid workers, a seasoned medic, a young logistician, their local driver, were gone. There were no signs of a struggle, no scuff marks in the sand, no shattered glass, no spent bullet casings. Their personal effects were left behind: wallets, phones. This was not a robbery gone wrong. The cargo and vehicles were intact. It was something cleaner, more deliberate, infinitely more chilling. The absence of violence was, in its own way, the most violent detail. It spoke to a level of precision and control that defied simple explanation. How could three people vanish from their vehicles in a humanitarian corridor without leaving a single trace? The scene presented a profound and disturbing puzzle. To understand what happened to the aid convoy, we are presented with not one but three distinct lines of inquiry, each a potential key to unlocking the central mystery. The first path is a forensic one, a meticulous examination of the crime scene itself. This approach demands we treat the silent, idling vehicles and the undisturbed earth around them as a text to be read. It requires us to look for the microscopic traces left behind. Tire tracks from an unidentified vehicle, a single foreign fiber on a seat, faint digital pings from a burner phone. This is the world of painstaking detail, where the absence of evidence becomes evidence itself, pointing toward a sophisticated actor capable of sanitizing a scene. A second path leads us into the realm of psychology, into the mind of the planner. This is not simply a whodunit, a howdunit, a whydunit. We build a profile, patient, meticulous, utterly ruthless. This planner would understand the convoy's route, its security protocols, its vulnerabilities. They operate with stealth and deniability, leaving a vacuum designed to sow confusion and fear. The objective was not just removal, but a statement of invisible power. The third and perhaps most urgent path is that of an investigative journalist or a human rights advocate. This frames the disappearance as a symptom of systemic collapse, asking who benefits from the silence and who is failing to protect. It looks beyond the scene to politics, failures of deconfliction, the complicity of state actors who may turn a blind eye or worse. It probes the erosion of international humanitarian law, where red crosses and crescents no longer shield but attract fire. In reality, the truth likely lies at the intersection: technical precision, cold psychology, and permissive political context. To find the missing or understand their fate, we must pursue all paths at once, following every lead, no matter how faint or disturbing. The convoy's final journey began at 8 o'clock local time. The three vehicles departed from a logistics hub in the regional capital. Their route was pre-approved, a 150-kilometer trip through a supposedly secure humanitarian corridor. Satellite data confirmed departure. A final text from the logistician confirms they left on schedule. The team, a 45-year-old French medic, a 28-year-old local logistician, a 52-year-old driver. Their mission was straightforward: deliver critical medical supplies to a camp housing thousands. By 10:30, they reached Checkpoint Alpha, manned by government forces. Manifests and markings were checked. The convoy's transponder pinged at 10:47. For 90 minutes, the journey was uneventful in a deconflicted zone. Vehicles were clearly marked. At 12:15, a routine check-in. All is well, proceeding as planned. ETA is 1 p.m. After that, their digital footprint continued for 18 minutes. At 12:33, all 3 GPS units went dead. One failure is a glitch. 3 at once suggests a deliberate act, possibly a sophisticated signal jammer. At 3 p.m., another aid patrol found the vehicles, 5 kilometers from the cutoff point. The lead vehicle's engine was still idling, indicating no more than 2.5 hours of runtime. The vehicles were stopped neatly on asphalt. No foreign DNA, no footprints, no tire marks other than their own. That absence implies something extraordinary. More plausibly, the scene was managed with extreme care, possibly forced to a secondary site, then returned to manufacture a mystery. Each moment deepened the mystery and underscored the operation's chilling efficiency. The security of the convoy was supposed to be guaranteed by a web of protocols known as a deconfliction mechanism. Aid groups submit route, exact timings, number, and descriptions of vehicles to a central coordinating body. That body shares data with government armies, rebel factions, and international forces. Vehicles are marked on roofs and sides. GPS transponders broadcast to a shared platform, a digital handshake for protection. It's not a barrier, but an understanding, an entry in a database and a no-attack zone. They operated in plain sight. Visibility was their shield. But transparency is a paradox. Being seen should guarantee safety, and also makes you a clear target. Deconfliction turns a convoy into a predictable, precisely located known quantity. Detailed information, route, timing, identity, can become a blueprint for abduction. A malicious actor knows exactly where and when to strike. This wasn't procedural failure by the aid group, it was a failure of the system. The deconflicted corridor did not provide sanctuary. It became a perfectly delineated trap, where the promise of safety became bait. Had they been taken by a rogue militia, abducted by a state-sponsored unit, or silenced for what they saw? The idling engine counted the seconds. Each passing moment deepened the affront to logic. For families and colleagues, the quiet scene offered no comfort, only a terrifying void. Their mission of mercy ended here, in an unnerving, inexplicable silence that echoed beyond the horizon. Section 5. A rising tide of violence. The global context. The disappearance was not an anomaly, but a grim data point in an alarming trend. According to UN data, by November 2024, 282 aid workers had been killed, surpassing the total for 2023. As reported by the Washington Post, more than 1,000 humanitarians have been killed in the past 3 years, nearly triple the previous 3. This is not accidental escalation, it's the collapse of protection. State actors are now responsible for the greater share of aid worker deaths. On April 1st, 2024, Israeli drones killed 7 World Central Kitchen aid workers. They traveled in a 3-vehicle convoy, clearly marked and deconflicted with the IDF. It was a deliberate sequential attack, a systematic hunt. Global outcry followed, with a rare admission citing misidentification. The WCK case shows deconfliction data can be used to kill. The convoy mystery suggests an evolution, using the same data to disappear. Actors can choose a loud, explosive statement or a quiet, chilling erasure. Both achieve the same goal: disrupt aid and intimidate providers. The architect was no amateur. State-level capability, disciplined operators, signal jamming, swift silent control. Victims moved, originals staged en road, an illusion of a simple stop. By making 3 people vanish, the message is clear: you are not safe, your protocols are useless. We can reach you anywhere, anytime. The disappearance has exposed a gaping void of accountability at the heart of modern conflict. Under international humanitarian law, the primary duty to protect civilians, including aid workers, rests with state actors controlling the territory. Failure to secure the corridor is not just operational. It is a breach of legal and moral obligations. Silence, denial, and deflection create a perfect storm of impunity. Plausible deniability muddies the waters and lets the story fade. 2 years after the convoy was found empty, the most fundamental questions remain unanswered. Where are the 3 aid workers? Are they alive? Who took them, and why? We must demand a full, transparent, independent investigation, not led by potentially implicated parties. Authorities must release surveillance records, identify units on scene, and publish vehicle forensic results. Why did 3 GPS units fail at the same moment? The anomaly strongly points to military-grade jamming. National security cannot shield a potential war crime from scrutiny. The deconfliction system is broken. It can hand a roadmap to malicious actors. Future systems require real-time armed overwatch, rapid response within minutes, and binding consequences for failure. Neutrality cannot be a suicide pact. It must be backed by credible deterrence. This is not about revenge, it is about survival of the global aid system. Find the missing, reveal the truth, reform the system. The world is watching, and silence is no longer an acceptable answer.